Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Postmodern Art Podcast, the podcast dedicated to giving artists who are wowing the world over the platform they deserve. I'm your host, Nathan Ragland, and today is a very special episode. Firstly, this is not just the podcast, this is a Christmas cast with some friends cast, or just friends. With me today, I have Foster and Williamson from the Anime Egotists, and I have Jogger Joe. These are close friends of mine who are creating amazing content that I think you guys should follow with the links in the description below. Now, why did I bring this collective group of random hosts together? Well, it's because today's guest influenced us in more ways than we could imagine. Today's guest is Joe Horne, who's been a storyboard artist for years with the likes of TMNT, the original, Sonic the Hedgehog, to directing some of the most beloved cartoons of our time, such as Boondocks and Class of 3000, which is the main reason why I wanted to bring him on the podcast. That was a show that heavily influenced me, and I personally believe deserves a lot more love than pop culture likes to give. I know there's a cult following on the internet, that's why most of you guys are here. I appreciate you guys, and I really do hope that you get to enjoy this episode as well as other episodes. I wanted to give a quick shout out to RDK Studios. If you're in the Atlanta area and you need a place to start up your own podcast, I highly recommend that you book a reservation for their studio. This is not paid advertisement or anything. I just really wanted to give them a shout out for how generous they were to help us out with this. I will say, though, for this podcast, I'm giving you guys a fair amount of warning. This was the first time that we were in a collective group when it comes to recording a podcast. The audio is not going to be great, and I apologize. But I hope that despite the technical difficulties, you should be able to still enjoy a nice quality conversation and learn a thing or two about, the production of the shows that you love, or how to get into the industry, how the industry has evolved over 20, 30 some odd years. This is an episode that is going to be special for me and for my group of friends, more than anything else. It's not going to be perfect. I'll be the first to admit that. But this was an episode that I'm glad that I got to share with my friends more than anything else. And I hope that throughout this holiday season and forward, you get to enjoy some quality time with those that are close to you and loved ones. But without getting too emotional, and without further ado, please enjoy the Postmodern Art Christmas Cast. All right, Joe, before we get started, I'm going to start the icebreaker question to start every single podcast. What is your most unpopular art opinion?
Oh, most unpopular art opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I like showgirls.
You like showgirls, okay. Care to elaborate on that?
Yeah, you could take a date to see showgirls. It's like taking a date to see the one with the J-Lo if her husband isn't there. Yeah. So yeah, that's because is that Esther House? I think it's Esther House. It's a weird movie, man. That's that crazy Elizabeth Berkley. It's so what it is. That's the other remake of The Wizard of Oz, right up there with with the David Lynch. That's the second remake of Wizard of Oz. Oh, third. I take it back. Fistful of Yen. Fistful of Yen is a remake of Wizard of Oz too. Yeah.
I've never heard that comparison ever.
Yeah, well, that's what it. Look at the David Lynch movie. What is that? Not Lost Highway. Wild at Heart. That's
Wild at Heart. Okay.
Yeah, that's with the Garland. That's Wizard of Oz. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If I start to go into tangents, that's just me going through a mental filing cabinet in my head. So
that's perfectly fine. Trust me, I wouldn't mind going through every single file in there. So.
Yeah, the answer is Showgirls.
Okay. But Showgirls is actually a good movie. Is that a hill you want to die on?
Well, I mean, some people think it's a good movie. Some people think it's bad. Got a lady popping her tits open all the time. Hey, remember us? That's some. I paid him to write that.
Okay.
That's what the producer says. He's taking his Anderson. I paid him to write that. Boobs pop out. Yeah. I paid them $4 million. Okay.
Really?
Yeah. I'm a RoboCop fan. I'm a Starship Troopers fan. So, the guy can do no wrong. It's Verhoeven. I'm just if I gotta pick a fight, I'll pick a fight with him because he's not here. Okay.
I don't know how we got this tangent, but I love it. But with that, we got the icebreaker out. Let's go ahead and get started with the Postmodern Art Podcast. Welcome everyone to the podcast. Feel free to subscribe, YouTube, follow on whatever streaming platform you prefer, and follow us at Postmodern Art Pod for future updates and guest announcements, including today's guest. He is a industry veteran with years of experience dating all the way back to the 80s and 90s. Most prominently, he was a director for an amazing Cartoon Network show, Class of 3000. Please welcome to the podcast, Joe Horne. Joe, how are you doing today?
I'm good. And how are you today?
We are all absolutely wonderful now that we're actually getting to sit down and chat with you.
Good. So I'm just going to see the one person, right? But I'll hear three people.
Yeah. You'll
Are
hear.
they going to take turns like Brady Bunch?
Most of the questions, so.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to know if I'm in a Brady Bunch thing. If you're going to switch screens on me.
Fair enough.
I just wanted to go ahead and before we get started, I want to apologize to anybody who's watching like the YouTube version of this because of me dancing just after this Class of 2000. It literally just my entire childhood just popped up.
No. You're supposed to dance. Go ahead. You're supposed to dance to it. That's the way he planned it. That's the way he planned it.
I just gotta say, when he told me,
you should look at the Andre. There's Andre dancing on the YouTube channel somewhere.
Right. Which I will be sure to link in the description.
Yeah,
I gotta admit when he said we were going to be interviewing you, I definitely I got nostalgic. Class of 3000. Especially I guess with Class of 3000, it's one of those shows that everybody remembers, but it flies under the radar of notable cartoons that people mention when they talk about oh yeah, I watched it as a child. So when he said that you were going to be on and we were going to get to talk to you, I just got so excited because that was a staple of my childhood for a long time.
Time it's a weird thing. The time is a strange thing.
Before we continue, I want to go ahead and introduce the fact that I have more than just one guest today. So Alex, Richard, and Jogger Joe, go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Age before beauty.
I'm Richard. I'm one of the co-hosts on our podcast, Anime Egotist, with my co-host, Alex.
Yeah, my name's Alex, and I'm one of the co-hosts of the Anime Egotist. That's backwards. Oh, boy. Anyway, the Anime Egotist, we talk the best, worst, and stuff about anime that no one likes to talk about, with just a tad bit of self-loathing. But we still try.
My turn.
My star blazer.
You've already heard me talk, but I just wanted to say, what's up, you guys? Like you said, my name is Jogger Joe, amateur YouTuber, amateur ukulele player, professional wrestling wannabe. I am currently training. I am a professional wrestling referee as well. So anybody need a spare ref, just hit me up. I'll see if I can make some things move. Follow me on YouTube. Subscribe to me on YouTube, I guess.
We'll do all the plugs later. I promise.
But I'm really excited to be here.
Of course.
Well, let's get back to the main attraction here. Joe, I just wanted to ask, before we actually get started with your career, I want to ask what was more or less the origin stories of you. What got you interested in art and animation?
From humble beginnings.
The origin story. What's a good one? I'm trying to find something that's super exciting and, it was, no, don't do that. Don't mind me. I'm just going through files. Let's see. Why don't you ask a direct question and then I will give direct answers. That way I can't have time to think about it. So if you said what high school you went to, why did you go there and stuff like that, I can answer that. That way I can trick him. I'm trying to trick the other Joe. You see, there's two of us here. I'm trying to trick
fair
him.
enough.
There's the drawing Joe. There's the drawing Joe.
For you, I saw that you were growing up in Newark, New Jersey. What kind of influence did that have with a person and with your art career?
Newark, New Jersey, a lot. Newark is, we used to be the capital of crime for many decades, and we lost to Miami, which is strange because we live right next to New York, but for some reason Newark was the crime capital. Okay. Oh, and from now on I'm saying That's right. Yeah, instead of So if you catch me saying you gotta say instead because I'm using cosmic breaths. Right.
Duly noted.
Yes.
Oh.
New Jersey is known for its Sopranos environment, and that is incredibly true, especially from the 60s to the 70s. Joe Pesci is from Jersey, Jerry Lewis, Sinatra. It's a wise guy town, and it's a lot of wise guys in there until you end up leaving because of wise guys. It's all right because by now they probably know where I am and going to kill me anyhow, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, I have people like that. I understand that.
Oh, it happens all through the picture. It's like a bad Martin and Lewis film. Let's see. Jersey, it was a high school, Arts High. Who's from Arts High, Joe? The guy who got killed. Killmonger. It's not Killmonger. Who's Apollo? Who's that? Apollo. Apollo.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Black Panther guy. He should be black. No, this is gonna. Yeah, I don't know how you get out of that one.
Wasn't the man
not Chadwick.
Carl Reaver?
Chadwick. Jordan. Michael Jordan's from Arts High.
Okay.
Yeah, he's from there. Okay. Yeah, he got killed. He got killed in Black Panther, but he plays Apollo's son.
Michael B.
Jordan.
Yeah,
we
Michael
did
B.
think about that a little earlier.
I'm thinking about basketball. No, not him. Yeah. I get that with football, but I don't play football. Wrestling, man, I don't know, man. What you need is good mic skills. That's what you need. Oh, okay. So high school. Larry Hazard was my homeroom teacher, and Larry Hazard was the boxing commissioner for a while. He used to hang out with Tyson and stuff, and scared the hell out of me when he was in the Ali movie playing the ref at the fight in Manila. And I was like, I can't escape my high school teacher no matter what I do. But I got his back because he put me in charge of the fencing team. So that was good. There's nothing more fun than running people through. I don't recommend it, but yeah, that was good. So it was a good time in high school. That's New Jersey. Yeah. Then when we went to New York for college. So that's right next door.
Okay.
Yeah. If I'm not answering, you just gotta tell me what I'm missing here, and I'll fill that in probably.
Oh no, look, man, I know you're filing through filing cabinets. I'm just letting you go through.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's a lot of people from that high school. It's Arts High School, so it's
Arts
sort
High
of
School.
like I guess they call them magnet schools now, but back then it was just it's a school for performing arts. It's like we don't have a football team, but we got baseball, basketball, no football team. Yeah,
Like a Wesley School for the Performing Arts.
Yeah, but I never told him that because that would tell him that I understand where he's coming from, and that would ruin the fun. So yeah, no.
Touche.
Well, no, if you tell him, then that's like reading the script. You don't want to know. That's what the fun is.
Yes.
If I gave you
That's why I don't tell these guys everything.
Yeah, if I gave you the script about your life, then you'd have no fun. That's the spice. Yeah.
So, well, speaking of getting back to the script of life, so you go from Arts High School to college in New York. What was sort of like the main experience there when it comes to developing your art style?
Okay, now we're in college. So that's School of Visual Arts. So that's Manhattan. And I'm a film major, but I'm a screenwriting major. But animation is cheaper to produce because you don't have to hire actors or sets. Just draw it. So that was the economical solution to screenwriting back in college. You just animate it, and you end up becoming a student of your professors, and they're like, "Hey, you're pretty quick on the pencil there. You want to work for us?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, man." And you get working for them, and I would say I would take a pen for this next bit, probably, because these guys are pretty badass guys, but you don't realize it until you look them up. I was a projectionist. That was where the fun was. Being the projectionist to all the different professors gives you an opportunity to see what they're thinking, what their curriculum, what they're trying to tell the other students. You can't say anything because you're the projectionist. So you know what you're going to show the students, but you can't, someone can try to give you a fiver, or something. Hey, are we going to be watching on I can't tell you that. Oh, Fantasia. Yeah, come on in. It's like, but I would look up try the historian first. Try the film historian. Everson, William K. Everson. I was his student.
Okay.
But he was my William K. Everson. He was my history of film, and the history of film was very important to me because you got to know what you're talking about. But I took him because he was awesome. I didn't know who he was at the time. I was just his projections because he offered me the gig. You're projecting his own copy of Abel Gance's Napoleon. It kind of figured out that you might be in trouble if you mess it up because it's like a rare old 1900s film, and it's his own copy projector. And you're slowly doing the math, like, wow, these things are probably quite important if I do something stupid with them while you're riding in the subway in Manhattan. So maybe I should have took the cab. So these are the things that go through your mind. But yeah, William K. Everson, he's a fantastic film historian, and most of the New York filmmakers from that timeline, like Scorsese, De Niro, all these guys, Carpenter, Dante, all these guys studied. Most of my teachers were like that. Chuck Hirsch was our dean, but he is Charles Hirsch? No, Chuck Hirsch is my dean, but he is Hirsch. He's Paul Hirsch's brother who edited Star Wars. There's a lot of Star Wars connections, unfortunately. Unfortunately, you're going to hear a lot of Star Wars connections. Boy, that Dave's doing a good job, huh? He's doing a good job. Dave's doing a good job. You should look at Dave's work when he was my storyboard guy on Timo Supremo, because that's when Dave. We worked. He was going to be my assistant when we were doing oblongs, but I got Ben Jones, who's an amazing director, but he's not the guy. Ben Jones is the other guy. Ben Jones was my assistant. Filoni was Vince Waller's. Yeah, he was Vince's roommate. That's right. So Dave was Vince Waller's assistant director next door, and I got Bob Jakes over here with Chong. That's right. Yeah. So that's where Dave shows up, and he's really good on Laura Croft. And at lunchtime he'd come in and win the machine, because I'm really bad at trying to say Laura Croft. So, but he came with us when we went over to do Timo Supremo over at Disney, and Dave was like I guess you call him a ringer back then. He was a ringer because you put him and he just runs off. He's like, I'm going to bring Technor back and you can't stop me. And we're like, we're not going to try and stop you. Go. And he just runs off and does it. And that's how he rolls. I think he's doing a great job. I don't know if you caught up yet, but you got to remember that Mark Hamill was the voice of the Birthday Bandit in Timo. So we would have Dave hang out all the time. Dave was like a huge. The right man has the right job. I'll say that. That would be putting it fairly and safely. Yeah, the right man. The plan goes well. How about that? Yeah, I'll leave it at that. But yeah. Yeah, he wasn't. He didn't.
I guess I never realized how fun show college could be.
Oh yeah, it was a great show. Time travel. We did a lot of time traveling, which I don't recommend unless you know exactly what you're doing.
Now he tells me.
Yeah. See?
Yeah, we had a few mistakes already with that.
Yeah, 12 Monkeys is right. See. Oh, where's my mask? Wait. Hang on.
Oh no.
Should we? Oh man, should we put on our masks for this?
I have to
Wait for that now.
It's always carry my space helmet just in case for protection.
Oh right, the space helmet.
Oh, that's Okay, I don't have a mask like that.
Oh no, you get a space helmet. You get a space helmet. You know, you put it open. Put it open. You're good.
Yeah.
You know, and then you get to tag it. You paint it. You tag it. See, you tag it with your own paint job. So you customize. It's the new trend, I find. It seems to be a new
Need to hop on
thing.
that trend.
Customizing.
Works for me.
Yeah. It's cool.
But
Okay, so yeah. So,
anyway, so getting back to your art career and all this incredible stuff. I mean, again, you meet all these incredible people in college and such. What was like the first step for you, like going to like the actual career itself? I was gonna say, I know in my research, I noticed that there was a lot of influence of the mid to late '80s with like rock and roll, Hulk Hogan rock and roll wrestling, and the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
yeah, rock and wrestling. Yeah, Hogan. That was man, they didn't fight. That thing really pissed me off. They had no fight scenes, and I'm like, but they're wrestlers. And they're like, no, we're CBS.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but they're wrestlers. No, but we're CBS. I'm like, no. It went back and forth. That's
The
dangerous.
wrestlers.
Yeah, they should wrestle. You know, Piper, man. I love drawing the bad guys.
It's
A big Piper fan, man. Fucking Piper was so cool.
oh, same here. Love
It's
Piper.
like, I always did them in Jack Kirby poses. If you watch Rock and Wrestling right now, you'll find out that all the bad guys are done in like Kirby poses from 60s Marvel comics. Everyone's like posed like they're like the Frightful Four or they're like the Inhumans and shit. It's like they're just getting a piece of cake. But I'm like, I don't care. I need them in action poses. The action show. What's the matter with you people? It's like, you know, there was no rock and roll either. I was like, hey man, what are you guys doing? It's a bit good.
Yeah, I want to see Hulk Hogan get an electric guitar solo.
Yeah. Where's my rock and
Now,
wrestling?
what he needed was,
Cindy promised us that. Yeah.
I swear, he needed a guitar solo while he was fighting someone in the ring. Like, he needed to do both at the same time. It would have been the perfect.
I'm hoping. They're working on that Elvis show now, and you know it can go either way.
Oh, that's
but
right.
you know, the rules of Super Cowboy are very clear, and if you don't follow it, he better be doing that, taking care of business, that TCB style. If he's not, then there's going to be some people who are practitioners who are going to have some words with these producers, because these guys they don't mess around, and it's a good style too. It's a very interesting techniques, lots of kicks. Because he's who's that guy? He's an Ed Parker student. That's right. So a lot of hand moves, but a lot of kicks because of him hanging out with Chuck Norris. Man, Elvis that stuff's real. No. He is much like the Buckaroo Banzai. Without the really good band. He doesn't have the backup band.
Speaking of really good bands, but not really, I wanted to say, I noticed when I was also doing my research, you did a lot of work on the Sonic the Hedgehog show. How was that experience like?
Yeah. We did the silly one, not the dark Sonic. We were the silly Sonic. We were
Right.
We were
Not Underground.
There was another one besides Underground.
No, Sonic Underground was the network show. That's not me. We were the syndicated one with the goofy, trying to look like trying to be a Tezuka. I was trying to make a Tezuka show, but no one listens. But it's just do it. But that was fun. I had a good time because I did a lot of people getting kicked. A lot of people getting kicked in the butt. A lot of butt kicking. That was a big thing in Japan. A lot of people like to get kicked in the butt, and they were cool with that.
Literal.
So who was that?
I was about to say, over the past several years, I've noticed that show slowly developed like a meme, like cult, like following online. And it's so interesting to see, but at the same time, I'm wondering what took so long. Why all of a sudden, like 10 or 20 years later?
What, Sonic?
Yeah, well, just Sonic? That show in particular, I see that show posted everywhere.
It's wacky because it's nonsensical. It got there before these other nonsensical things happened in the early 2000s, which is another problem. Part of the problem. Yeah, that's
all the nonsensical stuff happening.
Yeah, that's a problem now, but back then it wasn't. But now it's a problem. Back then it wasn't. But it was like I tried really hard to give it like a Tezuka flavor to it, you know. So it felt like watching like, really, I was like, take the in-betweens out. There's too many in-betweens. What are you guys doing? It's not choppy. Choppy. It's supposed to be like Marine Boy. That doesn't look like Marine Boy.
I just wanted to say, I know you were talking about like a lot of these different productions and such. Like you were talking about Tezuka with like Hedgehog, or Jack Kirby with stuff. How much of like art in the past influences what you do like in your work?
All of it. Boy, I'm gonna try and explain this fairly. When I was younger in the '70s, my first subscription was Captain America, and I was very, very happy. I was the happiest cat. I saved that $12 for a whole year, man, and I was gonna get my Captain America, but then who was it? Sal Buscema left the book, and I was just like, what the hell? And this guy took over. Frank Robbins took over, and I couldn't stand him at the time. I was like, this guy sucks. This guy, Frank Robbins, he draws terrors of the ugliest things. Now I'm a huge fan. Changed my mind completely. But back then, if it hadn't been for like the exposure to Frank Robbins, Jack Kirby comes back right then for the 200th issue. But no, I would say Steranko is the man, and he's an escape artist. So Steranko, I mean Kirby, that goes without saying. But no, Steranko is the collage work. Steranko's collages are almost as good to Kirby, if that makes sense. When they do like the big spread pages with like the cutouts.
Yeah, no, I get what you're talking about.
Yeah, I love it when they take it to the trippiness. It's not trippy enough. Doctor Strange is pretty trippy.
Yeah.
You're almost there.
Yeah.
Into the Spider-Verse it's dead on. Phil and Chris nailed it, man. Those guys nailed it. And who wins? Disney, because it's still a Disney product.
Technically, yeah.
Yeah.
Everything is at this point.
Yeah, I know. You think it's made up, but I've been working for this guy since like '83.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're not getting out. That was my first internship.
Oh, okay.
I think we need to get away from.
I feel ashamed.
I think we need to get away from the mouse before he starts popping up at our doors.
Oh no. Mickey Mouse is, there's a plan there. It's I think the Disney stuff is as important as the Cartoon Network stuff for two reasons. The two obvious reasons, but the most obvious reason I would say Disney comes first is because they actually are taking a proactive stance, bringing in people who usually are not known for their organization to be running production, if I'm being tactful about it. And the fact that Roy Disney went out of his way not only to spearhead my promotion, but then back me up as I traveled around like Asia on some crazy guy tour for them. But Roy took the precaution of having all the studios overseas set up with different equipment to show the students, or should I say the future employees, how to animate. But still, it was just, I can still count the number of black animation directors at Disney on one hand. And to be in that hand is not bad at this stage. And doubly so for Cartoon Network at that timeline, because, I usually just be called the OBGH. Yeah, only black guy here. Yeah, so that was me all through the 80s and 90s and 2000s in many studios. There's only one black director. Well, that's him. That guy over there. Right? It's not as grim as I'm spelling out, because when we went with the Boondocks, we had like Tony and Dennis and Song is like a whole different, that's the guy, that's a whole different ball game. But yeah, it's a very limited number of black animation directors. It's a strange number. That's why I'm doubly happy for Spider-Man when it won, because a lot of people aren't realizing that black director won an Oscar and no one pays attention to it. I'm looking at it right there. Yeah. And Phil and Chris are cool cats.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got their back. We go way back as well.
There we go.
I think they did good.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Like I know we're talking about all these different influences. Like you have Disney, you have Boondocks, Oblongs, Sonics. Was there a show you didn't have a hand in?
Yeah, yes, a couple, but those are the ones that I wasn't meant to be on.
Okay.
You know, Om. Yeah. See, every time I'm catching myself. See, Om. I think Batman was a lot of fun because Bruce Timm caught me. He called me out in front of the Rocketeer at the El Capitan in LA when it came out, and he did this math. I only draw Batman, but he's the real Batman. So I was coming out of the theater, and he called me out because he had an issue, but he let it go. But he had to explain to me why you can't hit Batman in the face with a pie. And I was like, no, I'm the Joker, so I can do that. And he was like, checkmate, okay. And so we got away with that, but I don't recommend. These guys take it very seriously. There's like, you got your two camps. You got your Cape Crusaders, and you got your Dark Knight. Your Dark Knights take this stuff very seriously.
Yeah.
That's like Dan Reba. Yeah. It's like Bruce Timm. Kevin O'Leary is just Kevin, just period. So he can do whatever the fuck he wants. I don't mess with him. Anyhow, Bruce is his show, and he's Dark Knight. See, he's Dark Knight. He's not Cape Crusader, but I'm Cape Crusader, and so they were like, well, let him do. We did Christmas with the Joker, and we hit Batman in the face of the pie, and I'm not going to take heat for it because Batman should be professional. He's above losing his cool for getting hit with a pie, because that's why I messed up on the storyboard. I had Batman say my turn, and Bruce Timm goes, Batman wouldn't make it personal. He'll just grab him. So take it out? He was like, yeah, take it out. I'm like, all right. But we can keep it this time. So that was close because he does take it very serious. It's a good show, though.
Absolutely.
And I had fun with Batman. Yeah. Robots. Giant robots. Kill the bat, Not really. Batman's cool, too.
Was there
He's not my Batman. He's cool. Kevin Conroy, he's cool, but, Adam West he's the man, because of Cape Crusader. So there's not a lot I can do about that. I just think he's wearing a giant bat suit, and I think he should be,
he should be able to relax a little bit.
He's dressed as a giant bat.
Yeah.
How do you take that serious? I don't know.
It's true.
I am the Knight. No, I'm joking. I love Batman. I'm a huge Batman fan.
There you go.
Ben Jones, though, man. Ben Jones has the best Batman gag in animation right now. And he did it on Brave and the Bold and the double feature where he's fighting Owlman and the Joker's in his car. And Batman, turns out, has secret exits all over Gotham City where he can just appear. And he came out of a popcorn machine. And I was like, A+. There you go.
Oh, there we go.
Because he could probably do it. He came out, it was nowhere. The popcorn machine was sitting in the middle of nowhere. And Batman jumps out of it. I was like, yeah. And he will catch you. I'm like, yeah, that's great.
With all these productions that you've had so far, was there one that you remember most fondly, leading up to Class of 3000?
Well, see, Class of 3000 is a different project. Each project is a different adventure. Each one has a different bunch of situations in it. Directing is maybe misunderstood. It's more about firefighting. At the end of the day, it's basically about putting out conflicts. You're in conflict resolution, basically. These two guys over here can't get this thing done, so you gotta get them to work together, because if they don't, then we all lose. That's what it's about. Building cooperation between your teams. So then, it's like X-Men. You gotta basically just go in. So each one is sort of like a family. So I'm basically getting to. So to say that one family and those bunch of adventures are superior to this one would not be fair, because each one has different adventures in them. I went to the moon here, but I time traveled here. Well, we met Captain Nemo here. It's like Josie and the Pussycats. You can't pick one gig.
Yeah. Because
each one is zany. Each of them has interesting components in them which make them memorable. And they're all learning experiences, You couldn't have gotten to here if you didn't go through there. And you had to go through there, whether you like it or not. And that's the gig. It's not. It may seem what it's not in reality, but in reality, it's not as But at the same time, I don't want to talk it down because at the same time, even though Alfred Hitchcock is putting out fires, he's still Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the Alfred Hitchcock of Class of 3000 then.
yeah, okay.
How will you approach the project?
Oh, okay. You ready for this?
Yes.
This is a good one too.
Yes.
Please.
Where was I? We were on was it Boondocks? I think we were on Boondocks.
Okay.
No, I think it was
Okay.
Scooby Doo. We may have been on Scooby Doo. I know we were on Warner Brothers Live, but Cartoon Network's Burbank. So I kept coming back because Tommy, the producer, was trying to nail down the look of the show. It was going to be an adult show first, I guess,
Oh, really?
but they were going to turn it into
really?
a children's. Yeah, it was going to be on Adult Swim first, but then Laszlo changed his mind because of the popularity of the star, and because marquee value pushed it into children's department. They had to get a TV show going for him with the children's department. The night version was very different from what it became. I don't know about that show except for some interesting drawings by who is that? He's a P-Funk, isn't he? He's with Overton. Yeah, Overton did like a couple of illustrations of Andre, but they didn't know what the show was, and they didn't have like a showrunner or writer yet. And then we met the writer who's just left Simpsons, Pat. He was season 1. But then we come back. We keep coming back because they're looking for designs of the show. So Cartoon Network is like sort of like, you have your different shows, and each of the shows have their look. This is exactly what we're talking about. The house look. The house look of Cartoon Network was sort of like that sort of Billy and Mandy's, like the thick line, blocky
Right,
shape.
right.
If you see the one, then you see that it's a bad thing for all animation studios to do, is to have a house look. The bad thing now is that everything looks the Steven Universe looks like the Star versus all the same. It's like they only have one art director at the college they all studied at or something, and that's bad because it's monotonous. It all looks the same. And this happens a lot because executives don't want to take a chance. Timo was supposed to be a knockoff of Powerpuff, and I was like, we got to go no superpowers because of this. They can't have superpowers because Powerpuff has superpowers. Kelman designed Timo because they wanted to look like Powerpuff. I'm like, Kelman left the show. I'm like, well, I got to get a different designer because it can't look. We got to look like Bullwinkle or something. Class of 3000 had every top designer in that studio take a shot at it, and Andre turned them all down.
Wow.
And I'm like going, I don't think, and I'm thinking I'm not going to go in there. And Donovan was the director at the time, Donovan Cook. He did like Two Stupid Dogs.
Okay.
Yeah, I was cool with just art directing because my plan was just going to take all of the designs that all the other artists at the studio did for the show and implement them when we get to the musical number, because I know that's coming down the line because he's a musician. Like, well, then we're going to have to do Jackson 5 here. We're going to have to do Beatles. We're going to have to do different look for each song to spice it up. And I'm going to take those designs that didn't get greenlit for the show, for the characters. That way I can, use them differently every week.
Okay.
But then Donovan left the show. And so Donovan left the show, and Donovan was like, I'm leaving the show. I'm suggesting you to Tommy and Andre. And so Andre comes up. He comes to visit, and he goes, I've been through every designer here. And I'm like, I got it right here on the wall. I'm looking at it. I'm the art director. And he goes, what would you do if you were going to direct? Well, it ain't what I'm going to do. It's what you're going to do, isn't it? It's your show. How does it look to you? And he was like, no one ever asked me that. Well, I'm like, they should have asked you that day one, bro. It's your show. What does it look like to you? So we got this guy, Dave Coleman, we worked on Boondocks together. He comes over, and his only thing is just to just hang out with Andre. And Andre just started talking. And we wrote all these notes down, and what we came up with was like the circular movement. Like, it's very like the Hirschfield, wasn't it? It's very anti-house look, because that was the main problem, because it kept going against the house. But then Andre kept coming back on the noodle work, keep it noodling, because it looked like musical notes. So he went with that, and so that, I think, got us the gig. And it was just logic. always ask someone what you want. I'm going to give you the car that I designed. No, I want the car that I want. It's the same thing.
I mean, I'm surprised they didn't ask that in the first place. In fact, he's the guy producing the show.
Well, it's
Quasi main character.
well, it's just a tricky thing because each of these guys, well, I'm doing monkey, I'm samurai, I'm this, and this is the most important thing about animation or art, especially in animation. You got to be flexible and you got to be liquid. You got to be harmonizing. You got to be water. Bruce Lee's right, man. You got to not have one style. If you're John Kay, you can't go and do Sleeping Beauty. You can't do Dalmatians because I only know the John Kay look. Well, that's too bad because you're supposed to be a professional animator, and professional animators can take a model sheet and do anything to it and keep it on model. That's your job. You got to be like chameleon skills. These cats now, everyone's got this one style, and that's all they know. If you don't buy my style, then you don't buy my shit. That means you're not a professional animator. You got to be able to draw every style. I need you to draw Bugs Bunny tomorrow and give me Mickey Mouse today. A professional animator takes the model pack and can do that. Can't do that now. Unless, of course, you're overseas.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you gotta be jack of all trades. You gotta be friggin' liquid, vapor. I'm drawing Ninja Turtles today. I'm drawing Ninja Turtles today. I'm drawing like Sonic Hedgehog tomorrow. This is why we're on all these things, because you gotta be adaptable. You can't just draw one style. You're a professional animator. That's job one. Disney hires you without having to you don't have to animate when you join Disney. They teach you to animate. You just got to be able to draw. That was the old way in the 40s. Now we're backward. Now you just got to draw a style and you think that's your show. And it's like, you should try to avoid that. You got to be able to draw all styles. And it gives you a broader outlook. Right? Yeah. It's good to expand one's creative endeavors. If you can draw one thing, draw more. And it's like I can drum. No, I'm looking at my drumming. Yeah, my drumming is not as good as I got to work on my keyboard. Yeah, my keyboards are really sucky. Yeah. So yeah, if you can play one instrument, then you should learn them all. But this is not that. This is just look at art as, don't look at what you see, look at what it is. That never makes sense. That only works when you're drawing. Don't draw what you see. Draw what's there.
All right.
And that your interpretation is correct. Your interpretation is correct. There is no wrong. A lot of people think there's wrong, but that's where they mess up. I'm sorry, I'm drifting.
No, it's fine. I was about to say, you talking about adapting actually led into one of my questions. Dang.
Here, go for it.
Yeah. So, one of the questions I had, because you're obviously a veteran. You've worked in, and like we talk about Sonic the Hedgehog, Class 3000, Mega Man at some point, and you talked about adapting or changing your style. Is there a certain mindset that you go through, or just process that you have when you think to yourself, I have to evolve, I have to change?
Yes, all the time. Yeah, all the time. I have to evolve, I have to change. Dude, man, it's so essential for the species, for the entire, Earthlings. That's the whole thing. We're suffering from a perception issue, obviously, because we're not seeing. We can only see it's four senses, right? Yeah, we can only see what the four senses allow us to see, but there's actually six senses going on, but we're not supposed to be dealing with that. Just deal with the four. But we even have a hard time with that. And adaptability, it's essential. If you don't change, you don't grow. And you don't grow, you stagnate, you die. So you need to keep changing. I suggest not just changing, but suggest risk going so far out that by the time they catch up, that's where you're at. That's where you should be. I give it 8 year. You want an 8 year lead, usually. I'll tell you,
Sure.
If you watch the if you watch the Stevie and Zoya cartoons from the 80s from MTV, you're going to find out that the bad guy just lost the election. And I'll leave it at that. Because I looked at that in retrospect, and it was the 80s, and it was New York, and he was the obvious bad guy. And he was John Warlock, and he won. And so I'm just concerned about the other half of the ending where the aliens show up. And he still has 3 weeks to go. So all bets are off, kids.
I guess they really are.
Yeah.
If I can.
Simon Bar Sinister and Riff Raff still have time. They still have time.
Let's backtrack a little bit. I want to get back to Class of 3000 a little bit, because this is one of the major things I did want to talk about. I know you mentioned a little bit about being basically a firefighter, but what was kind of the experience like for directing Class of 3000?
Okay. Okay. The biggest challenge was trying to. Okay, our first attempt. This is funny. Okay, our first attempt was trying to talk Andre into heavy rotation.
Okay.
That was my first move.
Okay.
Hey, this song right here, Peanuts, is really, really good. Oh, you like that? Yeah. We could use that song, I don't know, 3 more times. You don't really have to go and make a new song every week. No, man, I'm going to make a new song every week. No, it takes a lot of time to actually, go and, the Monkees. We can watch the Monkees over here. That Pleasant Valley Sunday, they use that song. It ain't going to happen, man. No, I'm making a new song. That's what I'm about, And I'm like, so then the producer, so like, my boss goes, did you talk about making more songs? I'm like, he went to make a new song now, and he'll be back when he's done. Yeah, we didn't tell you to do that. Well, I know, but that's what he said, and it's his show, so we're going to wait until he's done. And sure enough, there were some killer songs, so our best bet is not to mess with that. But I was, trying to, be cheap about it, and fiddlesticks on that. You will get a song, but he didn't do it because that was the adventure. Before I go on, I got to mention that Pat Irwin was the musical supervisor on the show.
Okay.
Pat Irwin, unbeknownst to everyone, but except for me, because that's why we got him. Well, no, he worked on Rocco. That's right.
Oh, okay.
Pat Irwin.
Okay.
Was a founding member of the Ray Beats, produced one of my favorite albums, Romeo Void. That's his album. And he was the keyboardist for the B-52s from 1989 to 98. So, no. But that wasn't the thing. Pat had to fill in when Andre couldn't make his deadlines for songs. So we had a deadline to get these shows done to get them on the air. And I had tried to explain this carefully because it's his show, but he's like, got to get the songs for his show done. But he explained that he had to take care of some things and couldn't make it. Happens all the time, so that's when you got to put the fire out. Mm-hmm. And in this case, we had to use a secret weapon because Pat couldn't do all of it. This was the Christmas episode, that's right. So we had to use an emergency phone call and had to use a favorite chip and had to call Devo. And that was the one thing. And they did the Christmas episode. So Devo actually is the music on the Christmas episode.
Okay.
If you look at the credit, it's Devo. Those guys are like the Ghostbusters. They show up. You got a problem with music, and then they just take care of it. It's kind of like the Fantastic Four, but they're all dudes. And there's 5 of them, but it's sort of like that. They're sort of like Ghostbusters. Is there a fire here? Yeah, right here, Mr. Ghostbusters. Well, this needs some rock and roll. It was cool, man. They saved the show. They saved that episode. So Andre comes back and he's like, "Wow, I didn't know you were gonna call them." I'm like, when push comes to shove, next week we're gonna call George Clinton. No. That was cool.
That would have been very interesting.
Yeah. That show was almost George Clinton's, actually, if I remember correctly.
Really?
Back at this. Oh, yeah. Tommy was trying to do a night show, and George Clinton couldn't make it, so he got Andre. It was some weird thing. I couldn't tell Andre that what was it? Speaker Box, yeah. Couldn't talk about that, because that was a really good album. but it wasn't Love Below. Love Below, I get it, but Speaker Box got like the 808 and everything. That opening riff, man. I don't know what to tell you.
One second, I just want to say, Jogger Joe, I noticed.
I was about to say he's pleading with us.
I'm over here chopping up the bits. Okay, so you kind of touched on it, but what was your, I guess, what was your approach to the fact that, like you mentioned it, every week y'all had a different song? What was your approach to direct each episode, knowing that there was going to be a new song, sometimes even 2 or 3?
Yeah. Okay. So we had 2 weeks turnaround for the animation for the musical number.
2 weeks.
Yeah. So the deal we made with Andre was to get at least a click track, so I could like make a tone poem for the crew. So click track is going to be just a basic 8 count of the song. Just give me like a song with the 8 count so I know where the beats are hitting on the song. I make a click track and mark on the film like with a big X where the beats are landing and hand that out to the animators so they know where the rhythm is. And then they just animate to whoever the guest art director designs are and animate based on the storyboard to that. And they got 2 weeks to do it. It was Jeff Medical and Travis Blaze. Travis Blaze was a Disney animator from Florida, and Jeff worked. He's Teen Titans, isn't he? Yeah, he's Teen Titans Go. That's Jeff. Jeff Mendes, Teen Titans Go, and the movie. They got Stan Lee. That was pretty smart.
Yeah,
that was very smart. In a DC movie, yeah, check and mate. Yeah. So 2 weeks. And it's 2 weeks, 24 hours. Yeah, you got 2 weeks, every hour within that 2 weeks. So yeah, we're not kidding. And then they're like, we're animated. We're trying to cut corners, but there's some, actual animation going on here. Yeah. And I got to get the art direction from the guest artists to the animators so they can start drawing as soon as they can. And they're like, I can't do anything if I don't have the song. And I'm like, I hear you. And I'm going to get at least a click track so you know how the groove goes. So by the time we get to post and get it to like post production, I'll have the completed song and we'll just mix it down. But I would need the animation at least to have that. So we animated the musical numbers in-house, and then we did the animation of the show proper overseas.
Okay.
Cool. That was the way to do it. So the answer is you animate the musical songs in-house, and then you do the show proper overseas. You just drop them in, like a compartment.
Okay.
Drop them in.
Okay.
I mean, I from on the outside looking in, I guess we don't really know how animation works. So I guess that's incredible to get that kind of insight, more or less.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's 24 frames a second, and that means the very minimum would be 2 frames of drawings. So that's 12 drawings a second, and then the very very minimum we're doing like anime. So it's 3 drawings a second. So that's 6 drawings a second. So it's 6 minimum, 24 maximum a second drawing.
I know you talked about how Andre was writing a song every single week. Did you guys have like the story beforehand, or like did you make the story around the songs that he made?
I was thinking that too.
He will. The writers are writing the script, and Andre gets a copy of the script, and you get a moment where the script tells you where the music is going to go in, but you got like after the first draft, you've got until Andre comes up with the name of the song, which is coming up really fast. Because once he gets the script, he starts, the wheel starts turning, and he'll call you, and it'll be any time of the day or night, and he'll just go, hey, this kung fu man with the UFO ninja man, it's got to be like Asia. I'm like, I hear you. He's just like, yeah, it's gonna be like the old kung fu show, with the quiet child. I'm like, yeah. I needed 2 weeks. And he's just like, but you gotta go because he's sort of he's a genius. So you just gotta just be there to watch it happen, and it's fun to watch it happen. But at the same time, you got these guys with pencils waiting to jump on it. So it's like, but you gotta wait and see him unleash it, because once it happens, it's like, okay, I'm gonna call this one Cool Kitty. I'm like, yeah, that'll work. 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. He's just like, hey, don't worry, man, we're gonna do it. And he does it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's sort of like Jimi Hendrix meets Sly Stone. Jimi Hendrix meets Sly Stone at Bootsy Collins' house with lots of girls. Yeah. He's much like Elvis. He is much like the Elvis. Yeah, he's much like the Elvis. The recommendation is Manny Petty. That's the tip off for you cats out there. Manny Petty. If you want to know what the action is, get your nails done. That's what he said. And this guy hangs out with Prince, so he must know what he's talking about. So hey, I'm gonna get my nails done.
There we go.
Yeah, I did them. Yeah.
I was just gonna say real quickly. When it comes to how involved was Andre with the process as a whole, like, because I know some people can just be like producer in name, and I mean, you said he made the songs and whatnot.
No, all through it. This guy had his own wardrobe. He brings his own wardrobe with him to the studio. I mean, like a whole rack, like a shopping rack, and they're like different outfits because he's got to shoot. This guy, when we did the main titles, man, he was like serious. He's like, he liked the turntable idea, and they turned the whole front of the studio into like a set so they could shoot that kid spinning the turn. We had 4 different kids because it was going to be a different DJ every week. But the editor, we had to get those deadlines done. But no, he was like hands on. It's not even if he couldn't make it, it was obviously because he was out fighting crime or something. It is Buckaroo Banzai. Don't be fooled. These things are real. It doesn't look like that because we're on the outside, but when you're in there, it's crazy, man. It's like it's like with the Harryhausen monsters, with the skeletons. It's all real.
Fair enough. I can just only imagine, like, if Andre 3000 was to be a crime fighter, like, imagine his theme song being Hey Ya.
I was about to say, the fun fact, considering Sonny Bridges was actually a superhero in one episode, so I find that hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't talk about that because Sonny he's a magical guy. He can do anything. We don't tell the audience. Right. I can tell you guys because it's over now, but it's much like the Willy Wonka. We don't tell you, but the house disappears. I think that gag worked. It's not that the house disappears, it's just camouflage. It just looks like the trees.
Oh, there we go. I love the excitement that Jogger Joe had right there.
I was about to say, should we send someone there?
Literally, because when I watched that show, I was like, okay, there's more that we're getting out of something. Like he's not telling us something about himself. He's not just this teacher that came back. Like no. Give us more. What's happening here?
His concern was to shoot it on location. So we had to go to Atlanta with photographers and get all this fantastic shots of the city, and we pulled that, took it back, and had a background artist like it's on location basically. So it's not New York, it's not a generic city. It's actually 5 Points. It's a shot on location because he's deadly serious. We had to go down there. Yeah. And I'm glad I did because that's where that Gladys Knight has that her man, that chicken was awesome, dude. And her greens, Gladys Knight has a restaurant, man, and that peach cobbler. It's crazy talk. I don't know, man.
Just eat.
Yeah.
And
We did Idas. You don't want to eat like that heavy stuff. We did the whole Idas. No one watched that. These are educational shows,
Yeah.
Idas, Boondocks, with the that Luther's a real sandwich, man. That's Luther Van. That's a real sandwich.
Yeah. I was gonna say, did you have something you wanted to
I was
say?
gonna say, every time I see it, my goodness.
I guess, like what you mentioned earlier, your work on Boondocks and how you would fit them on location, like going to Atlanta. Atlanta, of course, having a lot of culture for black people, and the show was different because there wasn't any one token black character. The show itself was actually very diverse. But unfortunately, a lot of people nowadays might not see that as a good thing. Was there Did you have to jump through any hurdles to make the show as diverse as it was, or did that just come naturally?
Okay. Once again, Andre was very serious about it, and he talked about the people he grew up with back home. I just wish that I used that time device to meet the real Madison. But other than that, he was very adamant about a diverse crew, and to the point where, I mean, I think the only thing we had to get rid of was Cheddar Man, because I just thought he was just in the way. And the preacher and Cheddar Man had to go. They were just in the way. But this is like that's mostly not him as much as it is your showrunner, the writers trying to figure out who. That's like Skinner. Like these guys were coming from a. I'm going to put this very carefully, from a prime time animated environment. The writers. My writer was Patrick, and he's awesome. He's Futurama now. Patrick Verone. He was the head of Writers Guild. He's an awesome guy. Very deadly at trivia. You could say something random about the Little Rascals and he'll pick it up. But he came from a world of animation where animation was being used mostly for sitcom purposes. And so when you walk into a building that says Cartoon Network over the door, you have to realize that you're not doing a sitcom show where when you say the gag, you immediately cut to a visual of what you just said, the redundancy issue, because we're not doing that. So the most important thing I think we were able to pull off on that production, which we always do when we direct a show, is get rid of the storyboard reel. For some reason, writers have a tendency to want to have a storyboard showing of the script. I call it animatic. Basically, we call it like a reel, and it's supposed to so you can see how the animation moves. But because of a show that started about 33 years ago now, I worked on the Babysitter and Sisters, right? Yeah, Penny Marshall. So yeah, I'm episode 3. Back then, the show was more animated, but then the writers were able to achieve the greatest mistake in animation history. They got the network to approve of unlimited creative retakes from the overseas studio. So that means that the overseas studio you can like write something, and if you don't think that's funny, you can go back to the studio and have it reanimated, regardless of all the manpower or power, animation power behind that production. If they don't think it's funny or if it's not selling in the room, they were able to go back and rewrite and redraw complete episodes until they thought it was funny enough. And I personally don't think that's the way to run an operation. But I had to deal with a lot of these sort of writers and producers, because these guys are put into a position where they get to tell the artist what the show looks like, how the show should be run. And I'm like, that's not going to happen. That's one of the contingencies of me working on this project. You don't get a story reel.
Please pardon the interruption. We were experiencing technical difficulties as this was the point of the interview where Joe's feed decided to cut off and we had to wait for him to return. Here's a fact for you. Did you know that Sonny Bridges is not the only voice acting role that Andre 3000 had? He also voiced the Crow in the 2006 adaptation of Charlotte's Web. And now we get back to our interview.
What was your first concert, you guys?
My first concert.
Oh, I went to. Actually, my first concert wasn't until I was like 19. Went to a
What was your first concert?
Went to a Justin Timberlake concert with my parents and got hit on by a 40-year-old woman. It was weird.
Okay.
Mine was what was it, Star 94 concert or something like that?
I don't know.
I'm trying to remember what the radio station was.
Yes, there was a Star 94.
Yeah. Star 94, it had Daughtry, Catherine McPhee, and someone else.
My mom likes Daughtry.
I heard the question. My first actual concert.
Your first concert.
It was the one that my college put on. This guy named Somo, and he did a concert it was my first concert, actually, my first ever concert.
That was your first concert?
First one. I'm trying to get to a Kendrick Lamar concert one of these days, hopefully.
And Richard?
That's cool.
Yeah, mine was a Jimmy Buffett concert.
Did you get hit on by a 40-year-old woman?
Probably. It was a long time ago. I was in middle school.
That makes it weirder.
That's cool.
Much
First
weirder.
concerts
That
are
is cool.
important. Yeah. Yeah, you miss them now, but yeah, they're very essential.
They really are.
It's a tribal
really are.
I wonder what that
experience.
woman's doing right now.
Anyways, now that we got you back, let's jump right back into the concert.
You need to keep the concert part. This is good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put like a technical difficulties thing or something like that.
All right. Anyways,
I wanted to jump back into Andre 3000, not Andre, but Class 3000. I know. Correct me if I'm wrong. For every single music video, did you have a guest animator for the music that was made for the show?
It was guest art director.
Guest art director.
It's our director.
Yeah, we had 2 in-house animators, but we had guest art directors. So every week it was a different art director.
Was there one that you prefer, or your one that's your favorite?
No, it's like they're all good. They're all different reasons. It's like, this week it's Peter Chung, but next week it's John Kay, but then this week it's like Cane Maker, but then it's
Yeah, like Jorge Gutierrez.
who's that guy? He
Like
was
Jorge
really good.
Gutierrez.
Who's that guy? The British guy. He was really good. The guy did the Beatles stuff. That was really cool.
No, I can't
He's
imagine.
doing Alberto. Yeah, Alberto. He did Spider-Verse.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. He worked with Charlie on Tron. Yeah, Albert. He's a really good artist, man. He did the Teacher of the Year video. But they're all good. Megan did the cutouts. You guys see the one with the cutouts. Cool Kitty. That's Megan. She did like 50s traditional cutout. That's really good. Shucks. Each of those guys. Who's that? That's the Bill Sienkiewicz. Awesome, man. He did the first episode. And all he had to do was draw cutouts. I'm like, and he got paid.
There we
Awesome.
go.
Here we go.
Yeah, it's like Kyle Baker is awesome, man. That guy, he wanted to animate the whole thing himself, but he didn't have to. But yeah, he did like 2 of them or something. They're all good. Yeah, I can't have a favorite. Each one is a different assignment. And it's the challenge. The challenge is getting it, get through it. Here's the song, here's the art look, and then you hand it to the animators, and then they beat you up. But yeah, it's all right.
There we go.
No, but no, I don't have a favorite.
Okay.
Unless I pick my own, and I'm not going to do that. Wait a minute, I did the creepy one. No one likes mine because I did the creepy one, but I think the creepy one's the coolest.
All We Want Is Your Soul.
Oh, that one's a good one.
No, that's Charlie. Charlie Bean is
Charlie.
We Went to Soul. No, I did Cleanup with the genie.
Oh,
Yeah. I'm Sam I Am. That's my pen name. But wow. That's my producer. That's Kelly. She's the producer of the show. She plays the housewife. All we did was like take her mouth and eyes and stick them on her face, but she wasn't having it. I got in such trouble. Man. She was really cool about it. It was fun. I thought it came out really good. Nice and
that did
disturbing.
turn out really good. Now that I think back on it.
But that didn't go. I had to buy it. She was really pissed off, man. She said, "What'd you do to me?" I'm like, "You're in the cartoon. What are you talking about?"
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
But I wanted to jump to this question. This was one of the ones I really wanted to ask. For those that know about the show and how it sadly had to go off the air was because of a lawsuit that I don't want to get into. But I do want to ask, at that point, I know animation takes a while. How much was exactly planned or like left on the cutting room floor at that point? Like, was there any plans for like a season 3 before all that stuff went down, or like where were you guys at when that happened?
Okay. So we found out about the legal action toward the middle of season 2 or the front of season 2. It's not like it was a problem with us. I would have brought up Mission Magic. There are other shows before Magic School Bus that could have been used in the case, but obviously I'm not the lawyer. But I would have just been like, Mission Magic, case is closed. He's a magical teacher.
Yeah.
That should have been it. And the judge obviously agreed. I will take points though. I like the fact that the show was legally called a good show for kids. So that's having it put in legal type and put into a Boston thing is fine. It's just a drag that these sort of things But I think the message that needed to get out got out. I hope. I think it was more about selling the game with the show. There was a online game where you could make your own songs, which we thought was the important thing. Getting yeah, Rockbox. I think it's called Rockbox or something. It was you can play. It's sort of like Fruity Loops. It's like a music mixing program, and you can make your own songs. And that was his thing. He was very adamant about, because there was they were taking music out of school, so he was that didn't go over well with him. So he was like, well, we got to come up with some way kids can play music. I'm like, yeah, let's give them like a thing online. Yeah, so it was like Rockbox. I think we called it that, and you just could play instruments. You look like the kids from the show, but it was just like a working, like easier version of like most commonly used musical mixing programs, isn't it? Isn't that what that is?
I believe so.
Fruity Loops.
Believe
is
so,
the same.
yes.
Yeah. Just not remembering the name of the exact program, but it's a very famous musical editing film, music for it. And we were just trying to get the kids to do that too. I thought it worked. I think you can still use it. I don't know if it's still online.
I'm sure if you can use something like the Wayback Machine or something, you might be able to.
I was about to say, I looked back. I don't know how far back ago I looked, but it should be still around. I messed around with it for a little longer than I should have been. I could have been productive doing something, but I'm like, no, I'll just keep doing this.
Did it run on Java though?
Maybe. I have no idea.
It might not work now.
I have no idea. I'm sure someone finds.
But the it was a game, but that was his thing. The show was just to promote the education of music. That was the plan. The plan was to promote. The plan was to promote fun. If I remember correctly, the exact orders were fun with music and art. Go.
There we go.
And
There we go.
like, okay, yeah, it worked. I think it worked.
Oh, I think it worked in that some.
Oh, I think it worked in that.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, now it would be tricky because Philly Phil is not played. It's Phil.
Yeah, Phil Moore played Philly Phil.
That's Phil playing Philly Phil, but because of the current climate, they may have an issue with that. I don't get it. I think that's stupid. All this is stupid. We should be focusing this energy on real problems. That could be focused on real problems. That's a waste of time.
I do remember. I was gonna say, I do remember Philly Phil and everybody else having like only 8 fingers, but Eddie, since he was rich, he had 10. I do remember him putting
That's
that
a good gag.
10 fingers? Wow, you are rich.
Yeah.
That's like the third episode.
Yeah, you want that's Eddie. Eddie. Wayne Cochran. Wayne Cochran is the name. Wayne Cochran. He is basically called the white James Brown. He was a soul singer, a white soul singer in the 60s. He was in this movie CC and Company with Joe Namath, and his big song was CC Rider. And his haircut is Eddie's. I had to get that haircut on that kid. That giant yellow pompadour. It's a real haircut. Just look up Eddie Cochran, and then you're gonna see. No, Wayne Cochran. His name's Wayne Cochran. You type in Wayne Cochran, and you're gonna see the majestic haircut that ended up on Eddie's head. And this guy had capes. All the band members all wore capes. He's cool. Yeah. CC. Yeah, Wayne Cochran. Look at Wayne Cochran haircut.
Something tells me that Jogger Joe has found the photo.
Yeah. Oh, you found it? Yeah, that's Eddie. See?
You said James down there? Are you
Oh my
good?
god, I don't know if anybody can see this. Look at
Oh my
this.
god!
Oh my god!
That's him, right? That's him, right?
Yes! Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's Eddie. Yeah. That's Eddie's haircut.
I now see why.
That guy's a badass singer.
That's
He's like James Brown, but not.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to make this my wallpaper.
Dude, man. You guys are perfect.
Well,
'Cause
Nathan,
now you know. Now you know Eddie's secret haircut.
Yeah, Nathan, now you have a Halloween costume for next year.
Oh no! Don't you dare!
Please.
No!
He looks fabulous.
You guys haven't brought up Pee Wee's Playhouse yet. That's pretty interesting.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, is there something I missed about Pee
I
Wee's
was about to
Playhouse?
say, my dad loves Pee Wee's Playhouse. Me and him used to watch it all the time. I'm
Yeah,
trying.
we worked on that show. We did the El Hombre cartoons.
I was about to say,
Oh,
I was about
really?
to say, to be fair, I'm letting. This is your podcast. I'm waiting for
Fair
you.
enough.
So you can go to your dad and go, yeah, I talked to the guy who worked on your show too, Dad. Oh, no shit. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I talked to El Hombre. El Hombre's on the phone with me. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, what was the experience like working with that?
That was 89, 90 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the Playhouse. Yeah. No, we dealt with children's entertainment for a while. But yeah, no, he's a good boss too. He's a cool boss, actually.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. The more rock, the better. It's not enough rock.
Fair enough.
Or music.
You know.
That Soul Train show is pretty good.
Yeah.
We got Fatima. She was a choreographer on Soul Train. She was Andre's choreographer, and she sent a dancer in for one of the music videos. It was awesome. This lady was like Eartha Kitt, and she came in and she just like the guy who was art directing that episode. I didn't tell him, and he turned around and this lady walks in and she starts dancing in his office. I'm like, "What's that? You should be filming this because this is the girl you asked. Remember that you asked for her." You know, well, I should have ordered a pizza. Well, you didn't order that. You got the lady, you know. No, I guess not.
I could just listen to you talk for ages. I swear.
Well, you know.
Same.
So where was I? We're talking about music videos. The songs. Life Without Music.
Yes.
Sold me on that we were going to be all right. That was the first song that we got animated, and that was the John Kay, right? Yeah. So we did that one, and I knew it was going to work out because I had to get Ben Jones. That was the whole thing. I had to get Ben Jones away from Warner Brothers because he was like, my assistant director, but he was like this badass. You should be watching like his show, man. That what was that? Not World's Finest. This is Brave and the Bold, man. That's really good Batman.
Yeah, that was a good
Brave
Batman.
and the Bold is.
That was a good Batman.
Yeah, that's Ben Jones. He's a funny guy, man. He did a lot of Teen Titans. He was a director in Teen Titans a lot. Yeah, they're trying to get Fooly Cooley. Boy, that's a problem. No, it's not a problem. I love it, but I just don't think we should all be imitating Fooly Cooley.
Yeah.
That's not productive.
Fair
Fooly
enough.
Cooley exists.
But we've gone through basically Andre 3000 or Class of 3000. I keep on saying Andre 3000. We've gone through Class of 3000. I mean,
Same guy.
yeah, same thing. But we've gone through Class of 3000. While it was a good run, it only lasted 2 seasons. But since then, you haven't really slowed down yourself. You've worked on several incredible productions, after that, like Adventure Time with a scrapped episode, The Loud House as well.
Okay, now the Loud House thing needs to be clarified because I've never worked on that show.
Really?
Really? No, I haven't. IMDb keeps saying I worked on it, and I've been to IMDb many times and said, "Hey, stop putting my name on that." I've only worked on one Nickelodeon show, and that was Pig Goat Banana Cricket. Because I directed only on Pig Goat Banana Cricket at Nickelodeon. I have never worked on the Loud House.
Okay.
I may have worked on a storyboard to take a test, but for some reason I'm on the credit, and I would have been getting paid and union benefits and all those nice things, and that's not true. But it's not my problem. There are shows I have worked on, but I can assure you that Loud House is not one of them.
Thank you for correcting that. I apologize for that little mistake.
No, it happens a lot. It happens a lot on IMDb. They do that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
It's a weird thing, but no, I'm very adamant about it because I've noticed that on that thing. I'm like, wow. Did I work on Star Trek too? I don't know.
What other stuff did I forget that I worked on that IMDb told me?
That was Pick Up Banana Cricket.
But like I was trying to get with the question, but like with some of the more modern shows you worked on, what's been like the difference animating now compared to when you first started?
The technology has changed, and it's always changing. We're in the middle of, we've gotten rid of the camera. That was the big thing that happened. The major thing, the removal of the animation camera. Many of the things that required the time, like say Space Ghost, Flintstones, your filmation shows, anything animated requires time to draw. And then after you've drawn it, you need time to photograph it, one frame at a time. And that's when you send it to the camera. And that's where the money is either made or lost on your retake. Right? Yeah. And so you usually get a creative retake and you have a technical retake. Technical retakes mean that they shot something wrong and they will fix it at no charge. Creative retake means you want something new placed in there because what you had originally you're not happy with, but it's not your fault because you only did what we asked you to draw. And that's where the money is made for overseas studios in a creative retake. Simpsons goes, well, money's no object. And so that's when writers stepped in and started to just rewrite entire cartoons until they felt it was funny. And it's not a good idea. I don't know why you have Jabba show up twice in the story. You gave me all the information I need about Jabba in the Katina. Why do you have him at the space dock? Oh, because you can afford to do the shot. But it's completely useless. Yeah, you know, Indy was going to lose the arc regardless, and it doesn't matter. He was that point. He's right. Raiders is pointless. He would have not. He didn't get the arc, so
Yeah.
it's bad writing. You just got to be aware of that before you put money into animation because it's costly to have things drawn. Back then,
Yeah.
I'm saying things from a perspective from like the 80s to like late 90s. Now we've lost the camera. Now we're digital. So now we have to put our hopes and everything analog. No more film. Everything's digital. It's dangerous. One EMP and it's all crazy. It's not a good idea. But anyhow, that's where we are. But because of that, people have mistaken the new technology for speeding the process up or making things easier. It doesn't. It's just a different tool. It's a new pencil. It doesn't mean you can't. You're not drawing each of these. It just means that you traded your pencil for a digital pencil, but you still must do each of those drawings, 24 of them, or not. And that's when you have your technology. It's going to be very exciting when we get to this this next stage.
Awesome.
Well, I was
They
gonna say,
jack in your head. You don't want that.
I was gonna say, well, speaking of digital, you've definitely advanced a lot more when it comes to digital age with your Future Joe remixes that you're producing and putting on your YouTube channel and TikTok as well. How did those concepts come to be?
I'm glad you reminded me because I guess I'm late for my TikTok thing. I use the TikTok now because of the whole seclusion with the pandemic, and if the TikTok is keeping me from going cuckoo, basically. It's a little too late because we started dancing at the front of that, but that just got monotonous. So we started to draw instead because it was coming to. I'm using the TikTok. I'll answer the question, Joe. I'm using the TikTok as a chronological meter. It started out as like trying to learn the TikTok through dance, and then the first thing on TikTok I think is a drawing. So I knew we were going to put drawings in, but we had to learn the system. So if you look at the TikTok chronologically, you're going to see it go from drawings to dancing to more drawings to, I think it's Circus Girl. I think Laurel Canyon shows up in there. Yeah, so we go to like the circus story with the animals. Yeah, that's what the flip book. We went flip book crazy. That's right. Yeah, went flip book. And then we started taking the old Stevie and Zoyas and re-editing them because then we realized that is a massive music collection in the TikTok library just waiting to be exploited for cartoons. I'm like, yeah, well, get going. So that's what we're doing now. We're taking the music off our old cartoons and just dropping in songs that fit appropriately into the footage.
Was that also the idea for your Future Joe remixes as well?
That is the Future Joe remix.
Okay.
So that's what that is.
Okay.
You take an old cartoon that you animated previously, and then you take the sound off, and re-edit it to pick a bunch of songs and get 15 seconds to. It's like DJing off the fly to cartoons, which I've only seen once, and that was RZA, and not too many people are RZA.
Mm.
And you need those pioneer DVJs that he has, and they're awesome. This guy RZA can scratch cartoons live on stage. It's awesome.
There we go.
Yeah, he's for real.
Um,
Yeah, so that's what the TikToks are. They're musical numbers.
Okay. No, that's awesome, and I'm gonna leave a link in the description to make sure that everyone be able to see them because they really are very well done. I really want to say.
Well, I'm glad you reminded me because I know I am. I think Frank Assassinatra is chasing him at the moment. So what you're seeing right now is a multitask because in the back of my head I'm going through songs that I think will fit for the chase. So that's what I usually do. So
There we go.
the left side of the brain is working on songs, while the right side of the brain is
Working on
Sorry.
But this TikTok's that's pretty crazy. That TikTok invention.
It's incredible. It's incredible to see that kind of creativity flow with TikTok.
Yeah, they give you lots of really good covers and different versions of the same song, which is really fun. That's the really hard part.
Yeah. I was gonna say I know I'm out of questions. Richard, you had a question?
Yeah. So, what would be your dream project now? What would you be doing, and is there someone in particular you would really love to work with to make this project a reality?
Well, let's see. At the moment, how do I explain this one? Okay, so Angelo is one of the top frontmen in a band. Frontmen are the art of frontmen is really hard to explain. Prince is a frontman. James Brown is a frontman. Mick Jagger is a frontman.
Mm-hmm.
The frontman is the guy who can play the instruments, or he's a band leader. Ricky Ricardo is the frontman. Sly Stone. So Angelo is this frontman from this other band, Fishbone, and we've been hanging out. And the theory we're working on is trying to apply, like, let's call it the ska attitude to animation.
Okay.
And so I'm kind of seeing he's letting me take some of his songs and animate. Not animate to him. That's not the right term. Just making a visual interpretation of his song would be the best description at this moment. We did a TikTok of that. That was the experiment. If anyone was confused, if they saw like the guy from Fishbone dancing around talking about being frisked, that's probably what that is, because that was the TikTok experiment. What we did was shoot him in the center so everything could be shot. If you could watch it either in the widescreen on the YouTube or watch the TikTok, which we cut and made into 15-second pieces. So we shot his video within 15-second intervals in the event we could fit it onto TikTok. Okay. That made sense. Yeah, that's what. Did that make sense? That's what we did. So we're trying to, help. We're trying to help musicians. Basically, musicians need more help now more than ever because it's been a bad year. We're trying to hook them up with, like if they have a cool song, we're gonna give them visual support. That's the whole thing. You got to get a projector. Everyone should get you want to get a projector and you project. There's no more tagging. No more tagging in the future. You use digital tags. Yeah. And we're going to use projectors and just tag it. And there's no need to paint over it because we just pull the plug and it's gone. It's like ninja graffiti.
All right, then. Well, like I said, I'm out of questions. Do you guys have any questions?
I
have one more question.
I have
I have one more question. My question to you is, what advice would you give to anybody who would want to get into that type of world of being like a director, getting into animated shows, or like I said, being a director of just TV shows in general? Like, what kind of advice would you give?
Okay, this doesn't sound like Yoda, but don't look for it. Don't look for it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Don't look for it. You will find it if it is your calling. If you practice, always practice, period. You can't go on stage and start to play guitar if you haven't practiced. So, regardless of what you end up doing in the future, practice now for that, whatever it is. It's really imperative that we need to practice. Everyone needs to practice more to perfect it. We got to do that. Stop relying on this digital technology, because sooner or later, one well-placed electromagnetic weapon, and then you'll go back to pencil. So I wouldn't rely on this too much for everything. What else? What's a good one? Follow your instincts in everything. Follow your instincts in everything. If it's wrong, then it probably is. So there's no getting around. There's a lot of people trying to dissuade you through telling you things. So education, I would think, is the most important thing at this junction, because a lot of things would not have happened if people were more properly educated. And that's the bottom line in all things. And so I would say education is the most imperative thing now more than ever, because the overstimulation by media, streaming, all of these things have oversaturated the human mind that they can't tell the difference of truth and untruth. And you should be able to tell the truth and know the difference with your own eyes. If you can see something and still not know if it is right or wrong, then you got a problem. That means you need to educate more, because the next time someone is being murdered in your vision by a police officer, I don't think you're going to just want to take a picture of it, because that taking a picture of someone being murdered makes it a public execution. And it didn't have to happen, because next time someone's going to put the phone down and stop the cop. And you don't want that, because if the cop's better educated, none of this will happen. So yeah, this all comes to education. More now than ever, immediately, because there's a lot of idiots out there. And if the one idiot lets the other idiot do it, well, then we have a problem. And we need to avoid that quickly, because no one goes to space if they don't behave. I'm not going to be embarrassed out there. Oh, you're from Earth? Oh, that's too bad. I'm sorry for you.
I feel like a lot of us might have that problem sooner or later.
Hey, if you were Flash Gordon, would you come back from Mongo? No. What? I'm going to come back to pay taxes, rent, taxes. You asked about the Beastie Boy Adventures or MTV, because that's the real stuff.
A follow-up episode would be nice.
Yeah, we do a follow-up
episode would be nice.
Yeah, I would look more into like the rock stuff, because there's a lot of things that happen there.
Yeah, there you go. But like I was saying, that's all the questions we have. Joe, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to sit down and chat with us. I know that for most of us here, we can speak that, we really do appreciate all that you've done with just all the shows that you've been a part of, like having a hand in helping us basically grow up. So we want to personally thank you so much for everything.
And well, then you can count my gray hairs, man.
I was about to say, but also thank you for telling us about that hairstyle, because
it's something that's going to be burned in my memory now.
It's real. I wish I was making this up, but no, this is all true. I'm glad you can see it. It's just like, that's good that you can verify that. It's cool haircut, right? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
For those that don't know, what's your YouTube and TikTok like names and their handles so that people can find your stuff and see more of your stuff?
I would go to Ace Conrad on YouTube.
Okay.
Ace Conrad channel. And then I would go to Joe Horne 50 30. Am I Joe Horne 50? What am I? No, I'm like Joe Horne 0. I think I'm Joe Horne 0 on the TikTok.
Okay. And like I said, for
Like I
those
said,
that
for
haven't
those
That's
at
a
home, I'm
weird
just
program.
description.
You can get lost in there. Yeah, it's such a
But-
weird thing. But yeah, we got to do the other song.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You guys should
But-
pick songs and just make us have to animate to them. That'll be fun too.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'd be more than happy to name a few out there at some point. But with that, I have nothing else to say, so I have to say for people at home, hasta luego, amigos. Oh, and before I officially sign up, everyone's links that's been part of this call is in the description. I'll be sure to promote them. Thank you so much, everyone, for being part of this.